Have you ever tried contouring your face and ended up looking like this? Or contour your nose like this, but ended up looking like that? Maybe you're still confused about the difference between bronzer and contour shades. If any of this sounds familiar, please keep on watching. This is a series which my viewers send their makeup routine, and I will use their video as a reference to talk about makeup mistakes and how to fix it. If you haven't watched previous episode about blush, eyeliner, concealer, and lipstick, please check it out too. So let's get started. A common mistake when contouring the nose is drawing the straight line down the center. I noticed this in Lucia's contouring video, where she used a contour stick to draw a straight line and then blended it with her fingers. After blending, the line remained too obvious, which made the look appear unnatural and show that the nose had been contoured. And also, there is no connection between the start of her brows and the eye area, which made the look feel disconnected from the bridge of her nose. If you contour your nose by just simply drawing straight line, it will make your nose look longer and more unnatural, with the line standing out too much and looking obvious. Instead, start contouring the area between your eyebrows and eye, specifically from the triangle area. Please avoid starting right at the beginning of your brows, as this can create a more masculine look. Instead, begin just below the start of your brows. And rather than just drawing a straight line, imagine there's an invisible line running down your nose. Follow that line and stop at the tip of your nose. You can create a V shape under your nose to sharpen the tip. If you want your nose to look slimmer, you can draw the vertical contour lines from the bottom of your nose, narrower than the width at the tip. What Lucia did was contour the nose a bit too wide, which resulted in a softer, less defined look. It ended up adding the color rather than actually contouring the nose. To avoid this, don't blend all the way to the beginning of your nose. Focus on keeping the contour more towards the side of your nose and blend the rest slightly using the remaining product. But leave the nose tip area with a more color for definition. If you compare the look of just drawing a straight line to the look focusing on adding the definition under the nose and at the beginning of the nose, you will notice the difference. The second common mistake when contouring is using a big brush. In Rihanna's video, she used a large fan brush to contour her face and nose. This caused the products to spread too much, making it a bit messy, which she mentioned as one of her struggles. As a result, she had to use a lighter shade of concealer to brighten the center, which got covered by the contour products. And I noticed this similar mistake in Rebecca's video. The brush size isn't too big, but the shape isn't ideal for contouring. She used more like a V-shape, wide-angle brush, which is usually meant for powder. A brush that's wider at the end and narrower at the beginning make it harder to keep the contour neat and precise. She applied the product all over the perimeter of her face, but it looks like it spread to the center as well. If you use this type of big brush to contour your face or nose, you will lose control, and the product will end up going all over your face, including areas you don't want to contour, like the center of your face or the front of your cheeks. Plus, it is harder to blend into smaller areas like the side of your nose or under your cheekbones. And also, the tip of the brush is wider than the base. It's going to give you a more diffuse look instead of a precise one. This kind of like fluffy, wide-angle brush is better for applying powder all over your face instead of contouring your face or more detailed areas. For contouring, here's what works best. When contouring your face, using a small to medium-sized angle brush gives you better control to target the specific areas you want to contour, especially if you want more sculpted look. I saw Sarah use the one and it gave her a really precise, defined look. If you want a more diffuse and softer look, a smaller round brush works really well. Just make sure the end of the brush isn't too wide. Unlike an angle brush, this will give your face more rounded, useful appearance. When contouring your nose with this type of cream product, I will go for a much smaller angle brush compared to the one you use for your face. It helps you control the shape better. If you're using a powder product to contour your nose, this type of taper brush with soft, less dense bristles is the way to go. It blends the product smoothly, giving you a natural finish without harsh lines. Just make sure the tip of the brush is narrow for more precise look. And next common mistake is contouring too low. This is something I noticed a lot of my followers doing when contouring their face. Applying the product too low below the nostrils is often the result of using a too big brush or not being sure of the right placement. When I watched Rebecca's video, her brush went a little bit too low, which created a shadow that dragged down the lower part of her cheek. This made her face look less defined. Similarly, Rihanna also used a smaller brush, but still ended up applying the contour below her nostril lines. This can create a more patchy look. Lucia had a similar issue when blending with her fingers. She spread the product too widely and dragged it downward, which caused the contour to fall too low and affected the overall shape of her face. When contouring, placing the product too low, like under your nostrils, can make your face look wider by dragging your features down, no matter what your face shape is. To make your contour more sculpted and defined, focus on applying the product above your nostrils using a smaller, more precise brush like I mentioned earlier. This technique helps create a lifted, more dimensional look. If you're not sure where to place your contour, try using another brush to line up with your nostrils. This will give you a visual guide and help you avoid applying the product too low. Next common mistake is using too light shades. If your contour shade is too close to your natural skin tone, it won't give you the definition you might look for, unless you want something super natural and seamless. I saw this in Rebecca's video. She used a shade that was too light for her complexions, and when I looked at her before and after picture, I could barely see any difference. She also mentioned one of her struggles when contouring is not seeing much of a change after contouring. The same goes for Sarah's video. Maybe the lighting was too strong, but I could still barely see the color. This is what happens when you use a contour shade that is too light. If you want a more noticeable contour, don't be afraid to go for a shade that is slightly darker than your preference, but make sure to blend it well. Instead of sticking to a very natural shade, trust the blending process to make it look seamless. With the right technique and tools, you can still achieve a natural look even with a darker shade. And next common mistake is using too warm shades. It is important to understand the difference between contouring and bronzing. A lot of my followers, like in Rihanna's video, use bronzer shades to contour, especially when applying it all over her face. This can make the look too yellow or overly bronzed. While this type of warm bronzy shades are great for summer, if you want to achieve a sun-kissed look or bronzy look, they're not ideal if you want to achieve just natural contour face. Contouring is all about creating natural shadow on your face, and natural shadow don't have any warmth. They're more neutral or cool toned. That's why ashy shades are better for contouring, since they look more like real shadows. On the other hand, bronzing is for adding warmth to your face. It gives you that healthy sun-kissed glow, kind of like a blush, and adds color instead of sculpting your face. But actually, you can contour with bronzer, but if it's too warm or you put it in the wrong spots, like on your nose, it can end up looking overly bronzed and not as natural. So it's all about using the right shade in the right place with the right technique. So if you want a more natural looking contour, go for a shade that's less warm or bronzy and more ashy. It mimics the look of natural shadows. But if you have warm undertones, super ashy shades might look too cool and unnatural on your skin. In that case, try a shade that sits somewhere between a bronzer and contour. For those with cool, neutral, or sometimes olive undertones, ashy shades usually work beautifully and blend seamlessly with your complexion. So these are all about contour mistakes. I hope you guys find this very helpful. And thank you so much, my beautiful followers, for sending their makeup routine and encouraged to learn about makeup by sharing this all over the world. Please let me know if you learned something from this video, or if you want me to create another episode about makeup mistakes. Please let me know on the comment down below. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one. Bye!